Oh my stars and garters. What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast live stream, aka spoiler alert, episode 785, wherein we're going to review a couple of the past week's books and maybe something else. Probably something else. Definitely something else. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA, a super rad shop which caters to nerdy and nerd adjacent. Joining me tonight are Noel Bartocci and Brian Lieb. What's up, my nerds?
Hi.
Hey. Nick, neither of you answered my question.
What's up? You're right.
What's up? Oh, I'm not going to give you a literal answer and say the roof or the sky or planes or clouds. I'll just say that it's been a long day and I'm happy to spend the last couple of hours with you guys.
It's this direction.
Yeah, see, asshole.
But that was not the usual. That was not the usual. The roof, the sky, right? People are always like saying a thing that is up. I took it a different way. I'm telling you what is up.
I see. What is up?
Yeah. There you go.
It's that.
But it is
I
that way.
still hate it.
It's a visual. We are as a visual joke for an audio format.
Oh yeah. Oh man, how would you even describe up
to
someone?
for the listeners, Brian with his index finger pointed above his head.
Right index finger.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Is that one of those like red? You can't say what red is, right?
Right.
Up. You know, you need a reference point.
Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you to everyone who's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch hanging out with us. If you like what we're doing, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And pipe up in the chat, because half of the fun is you chatting with us. Also, you can email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com, and you can join our book club / movie club where we hang out, and it's on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on Zoom. If you look on Facebook, there's a group called JD's Hero Complex Book Club. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about Jeff Lemire's Sentient. By what's the artist's name? Walta?
Gabriel Walta.
Gabriel Walta, thank you. From TKO Publishing. We don't have any emails, but why don't we talk a little bit about Disney Plus's Ms. Marvel TV show that just dropped this week. The first episode kaplunked right into our midst, and each of us watched it. Who wants to go first? Noel does. Go.
Oh, I'll go. Ms. Marvel was very delightful. I was off camera, off mic. I was just telling Brian, there are times when something is written about teenagers by adults, and it feels like it's almost talking at you or to you, or a facsimile of. And then there's sometimes where they really capture the voice, and it feels authentic. And that's not meaning that it's juvenile, like it's for kids. It just actually felt like an authentic voice. And Aman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan, is just so goddamn delightful. The show was more visually engaging than I gave it that I was expecting. Like, the way that they handled text on screen, the way that they handled just visual flourishes, the way that she excitedly talks through things is visually represented in the actual editing of the show. It was just really good. It was really strong. Yeah.
No, I really liked it. Someone is talking about the authenticity of the teen lingo, I guess, or interactions. I saw another guy about my age. I'm in my 40s. Who was like, well, I understood everything they were saying, so I can't imagine it was that accurate. The joke, of course, being that I guess when he hears teenagers talking, most of the time he's going, what are they saying? I don't even know what half of this stuff is. It was like a self-deprecating, but I really enjoyed the Scott Pilgrim of it all visually. The graffiti on the background as they're walking and talking is moving, and the way she lays out the plan for the evening is very in line with Ant-Man's little buddy, whose name I forget.
Luis.
Luis is my favorite part of that whole movie. So yeah, I thought it was fun. I'm not entirely sure I love it yet. I love its existence, and I think it's very important. And I did have a good time watching it, but I don't think it's too far above really good CW shows yet. Like when the CW DC shows first started, like The Flash and Arrow, I was really into those. I thought those were really quite good, and I think this is around slightly higher than that level. That's where I'm at, which is not what I'm used to from them, because I actually enjoy the Marvel TV shows so far. I know some people out there don't really care for them, but I think they're quite good. But this isn't quite top tier Marvel TV for me yet. Brian.
I'd say I like it. I like this episode about as much as I've liked the ones, the top tier of the Marvel TV shows so far. It not that much happened in this one. It takes a while for her to get her powers and for stuff to get going. There's a lot of like character work. And that is all really cool. Like, she's really enjoyable to watch. Her friend is enjoyable to watch. And what you guys were saying, the visual stuff in the background, that is, she's an artist in story. So it's a cool reason to do that kind of thing. Like to have and she's a dreamer. And so as she's explaining her dreams, they appear as art styles, in behind her and around them, which is pretty cool. I think I've said it on this podcast before, but I like the idea that she has energy-based powers, because stretching and growing powers never made sense to me that she was calling herself Captain Marvel, Mr. Fantastic aside. But sorry, Ms. Marvel. But I like the fact, she's got energy-based powers. She can kind of fly or, move through the air, that kind of thing. It really seems to befit a Marvel character more so, right? And
I agree. I know a lot of people were complaining about it before the show even aired. What? That's insane! I've never heard of behavior like that from the internet, but they were really upset that they changed her powers. And I said, as long as it feels like Kamala Khan, I don't really care how her powers manifest. I've never actually been particularly interested in her stretchy, her embiggening. Yeah. As far as a power set is concerned, I'm just like, all right.
They're not
I guess
that's powerful to be a part of the Marvel group,
I liked the change because her embiggening was like a manifestation of inhumanity, and this seems to be more in line with her culture, which I think is really cool. Because it, like, she even defines the bracelet or gauntlet or whatever it ends up actually being as a piece of her that she's bringing to her cosplay.
That's true.
Which I thought was just a really, really good character touch.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
In speaking of like the have either of you guys had the opportunity to actually read through her run, the G. Willow Wilson run?
I have not done so.
I will say the experience of reading it was not unlike the experience of this show thus far, where it just is competent. It feels slight, but it's enjoyable. And then 3 or 4 issues in, you're like, I can't put this down. I'm not exactly sure when it became unstoppable, but it just did. Like almost in the background, it became incredibly strong. Like it doesn't. This run did not shoot out of a cannon, but it ended up kind of becoming one of the best things I was reading at the time. It just like sunk its teeth in, and the pace of that first episode really does kind of mirror it, where it almost feels like nothing happens, but then 2 in, you're just like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. What's going on?
Yeah.
When did that happen? So I'm really hoping for that.
Good.
There's 2 comic-y type things that I enjoyed. The one, Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers' Ms. Marvel costume that one of the other cosplayers was wearing was
that
cool.
was funny.
And I like that she has a gauntlet, which is kind of like the Negabands. Which Captain
I thought that's what we were getting when I saw
I was a little
trailer.
Disappointed there weren't 2 of them, honestly. But I'm like, that's okay, I guess.
Maybe there's another one floating around.
Maybe. Ooh.
There are 2 quantum bands, and it's in canon that one does not have, like, they have been separated before.
So maybe that could be
either way.
she gets.
I really liked the they did some of the embiggening stuff in her power set too, where she like reaches out and like manifests a hand and all kinds of things. So like I'm super down with it, and I really do like her mom's kind of reaction to the wristband. I'm
so annoyed by the mom
things.
though.
No,
I wasn't.
I'm down. Yeah,
really?
that feels right. I did.
Oh.
Boy, man,
I
was just so sad when like they were trying to be supportive and join in, and the dad gets all green like the Hulk, and like they'll both go as the Hulks, and like they were really excited to be a part of whatever this is that Kamala, Avenger Con. And so they reach out in that way, and then she just is like, she makes them feel real shitty about it.
See,
and I was just like, oh, that got me right in my heart.
I felt bad about that too. Like, and she, the character, felt bad about it. But I also, as they were presenting the Hulk thing, it was like, you are not listening to your daughter. You are not accepting her for who she is. You are, like, she already told you what she wants to go as. You didn't even look at the costume. And, like, it was a shame that she hurt their feelings like that. But, like, the dad going as the Hulk is one thing. But, no, the mom really was unsupportive and confining.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Sometimes mom do be like that.
I know, right? But hopefully she
so
learns a thing or two.
Rob popped in on the chat under the CultPop podcast because he's Rob. Need the embiggening for the body dysmorphia played in the comic because, puberty. And I would argue that you don't need a metaphor for young female body dysmorphia in a show. I just don't think you probably need that because it's already kind of ingrained in her characterization. Just the trying on the dresses was you're too short for that. Or like she literally stands in the mirror thinking that what she's wearing is revealing and puts a sash around it, a la old school Miss Marvel costume. Yeah. So I don't think you need the metaphor personally.
Sushan and I were watching it and we were going, just show your mother she's like, they come into the bedroom and she's got her thing all covered up. And I'm like, just show her that you're wearing a gigantic leather coat that you've painted.
I think she still would have had a problem with it, but it's like form fitting. And all of her other clothes were very baggy. When she's in gym class, all of the other kids are in like gym clothes and she's got baggy sweatshirt and sweatpants.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
You know what? That was that. You guys just reminded me. This is the last point I'll make about the show. In the comic, when her powers manifest, she is such a super fan of Carol Danvers that she unintentionally makes herself look like Miss Marvel for like a day, because she is, she morphs and moves and embiggens. She subconsciously makes herself look like Miss Marvel, which to her is the embodiment of beauty and strength. And it was just such and she didn't know how to turn it off. So she's like, for half of the issue, speaking as Kamala, looking like Carol. And I thought that was really, really cool. That's obviously something that they can't really do here, but that was just such a cool moment.
I don't know. I'm wondering if Brie Larson will show up, actually.
Maybe like the last episode where she comes in mid-credit sequence, like, I have a mission. Or
you guys saw the end credit sequence for this, right? I almost didn't fast forward because they don't always do it in the shows.
What was it?
There's two presumably agents who are like...
It's the damage control agents from Far From Home.
Right. Yes.
I didn't recognize them.
Yeah, they're the ones who brought Peter in for questioning. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. No, I really liked that scene. It's almost too quick in the comic book when she first gets her powers and she immediately manifests her whole body to look like Carol Danvers, white, blonde lady. Yeah. And then she eventually has to realize that she needs to be herself and that she is just as, I guess that's what I'm looking for. Like, she accepts her own physicality as opposed to wanting to be blonde and white. But they kind of blow through it real quick. There she is. Yeah. So anyway,
it's the cliffhanger for the first issue, and then the whole second issue she is Carol. Yeah. Anyway.
Let us know what you guys thought if you watch Miss Marvel episode 1. I'm definitely going to be watching it. It's on the list of things to watch, like Obi-Wan and more Stranger Things.
Fun fact: the directors for like 3 of these episodes, including this first one, the directing duo of Bilal and Adil, I forget. They did Bad Boys for Life, which is surprisingly enjoyable. They are directing the Batgirl movie with Leslie
Oh, yeah?
Grace.
Oh, cool.
So
Very
these
cool.
fun visual flourishes and stuff, imagine them also in DC very shortly.
All right, let's move on to the comic books. We're going to start with Astronaut Down #1 from Aftershock, written by James Patrick with art by Rubin. Douglas Spitzer wants to be one of the astronauts selected for the crucial mission Pulitzer. And just like astronauts like Buzz Aldrin and Sally Ride, Douglas is brave, adaptable, and self-sacrificing. He's one of the program's best candidates. But if he qualifies, Douglas won't be traveling through space. He'll be launched into alternate realities on a desperate mission to save Earth from a horrific crisis that has our world on the brink of extinction. Extinction. Unfortunately, it's a mission where everything will go wrong, where Douglas's training and very humanity will be put to the test, and where a deep-seated secret could sabotage thing. I am glad I didn't read this solicitation for the book. I just opened it up and I started reading it, and it took me a while. I was like, I don't know, but then we find out what's going on with Earth, the cataclysm of all of this, or the what's the word I'm looking for? Is it cataclysm? No.
Cataclysm.
The cataclysm that started.
Like, what is it, like a quantum cancer?
Yeah, quantum cancer.
So insane. Yeah.
What a cool idea. And so they built up these barriers. It sort of presents visually as a flood, but it's like a quantum rewriting of
like
what
the
you
blob,
are.
right? Like it's like
so
the
cool.
blob that just like amasses and slowly takes over things. It was gross.
And we're swiftly running out of time because the domes that we've built around these cities, there's like 14 in the entire world left, are only able to survive the onslaught for a certain amount of time, and then they collapse and the millions of people inside die. So basically, we're sending these astronauts into alternate realities for some reason. I'm not quite sure. Does anyone know how this will help them?
It's not clear yet.
Okay. But yeah,
to
just
me.
The way that the issue reveals information as you go through it, it's revelation after revelation after revelation. And then the cliffhanger at the end, I was like, oh, this is cool as hell. This is some fun sci-fi. I'm on board. What did you think, Brian?
So I knew that both of you guys liked it a lot going into it, and I think maybe I would have liked to have read that solicit beforehand, because I was not that interested until the last couple of pages, when it's like, oh, he's going into another reality. That's interesting. So yeah, I would have liked that to happen like halfway through this book, which is something I find that I've been thinking of a lot of the #1 issues that we've read recently. Like, I don't know if it's just a similarity in pacing or whatever, but a lot of them have been doing their thing on the last 2 pages or the last page, like the thing that the book is about. Yeah, I didn't really get into what the cause of this is, and the astronauts going through their thing, like interviews and that kind of thing. But by the end of it, that last couple of pages, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Obviously I share GD's kind of impression of it, but I could see what you mean. Like this is a very strong example of a slow burn, but it's not boring. It's just almost meandering. Like it skirts the line, or it dances on the cliff of losing you a couple times, but not in a bad way. I'm not exactly sure what makes this very different so much as the fact that like they keep giving you really interesting breadcrumbs as opposed to being intentionally obtuse. Do you know what I mean?
That's
like,
the way I took it. Yes, it's like we are revealing our information a little bit at a
just
time,
little pieces.
but we're not doing Bolero.
Yeah, where it's like,
Wow,
look how self-important we are because it's up to you. Like, no, fuck you. Tell me a story. Like, you could do it slowly or you could do it quickly, but as long as it still keeps like giving me those breadcrumbs. And honestly, by halfway through the book, I was mostly interested in Douglas, our main astronaut, our main character, and why the other scientist was apprehensive about him. So like for me, that was the central mystery, because he's acing all these tests and she keeps kind of pulling him back and we don't know why. So like I was only really focusing on that thread. And then the book in the last third just kind of smacks me with this other stuff. And I didn't know anything about the multiversality of it or the alternate timeline stuff. And I still have no idea how they're going to, I don't know, quantumly untangle or unfuck themselves by visiting another. Like, that's just, I don't know how this is going to go. And the only reason why I was even like privy or keyed in on this book is because the writer is the guy that did Kaiju Score, which I enjoyed. So it's like a creator
That makes
that's
me want to go back and read Kaiju Score now.
A creator that's kind of on the radar now and trying different things. So I gave it a shot, and I thought it was worth reading. Yeah,
I like that last line. I like that I overcooked the chicken is the title of the story, and also I think comes up once in the middle of the comic.
It also comes it comes up in moments of stress while he's going through simulations. It's almost like that gets a flash. So I don't know. It implies that he's been closer and closer to being able to do this over anyone else. There's enough super good nuggets in here to keep me going. Right.
Even that little nugget, the I overcooked the chicken. We get these little flashes of this woman talking to him, and I had assumed it was someone he lost in the cancering of the physics of the world. So the fact that we find out that it's this alternate reality that he's quantum leaped to, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It was a nice little switcheroo for me. And then Rob said, "Fuck you, tell me a story." Needs to be on a T-shirt. JD, make it a shirt.
You could even put an asterisk at the U. Like, fuck you, tell me a story.
So yeah, I'm definitely on board for this. I really enjoyed this first issue. This is fun for me. Yeah. Let's move on to the next book. I'll tell you what it is. It's Dark Crisis #1 from DC Comics, written by Joshua Williamson, with art by Daniel Samperi. Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, and now Dark Crisis. The epic event, years in the making, is finally here. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League are dead. The remaining heroes are left to protect the world from an onslaught of violent attacks by DC's greatest villains. Can the legacy heroes step out of the shadows of the classic heroes to form a new Justice League? And will that be enough to stop a darkness greater than everything they've ever faced from destroying everything? Don't miss out on the first issue of the blockbuster event of the summer. This was just fine. I was not super wowed by it. I also didn't care about the death of the Justice League issue. I thought that was just fine. But I was kind of curious about this because I always love, and I always sort of hiccup when I come to this word, legacy characters, DC legacy characters. I'm always happy to see new Superman and Batman and GLs and Flashes and what have you. That's my jam, man. I love that shit. So the fact that we were getting a new Justice League, I was like, oh, all right, I'm into this. But then mostly this is a Teen Titans book, I think, by the end of it, which is also fine because I also
the original
love
legacy characters.
Yeah. So that didn't bother me at all. And the art is very nice. I do think that this is a solid first issue and should definitely have been the first issue, not the Road to Justice League. Or, I'm sorry, Road to Dark Crisis that came out last week, which was just totally forgettable.
This is almost like the 8th issue because it was Justice League 75 and then the Free Comic Book Day prologue and then Road to Dark Crisis, which was like a 4-issue anthology. because it was like a bunch of little stories, and now this. So it's, and then those were preceded by Justice Incarnate and Infinite Frontier. I
Which
feel
gave
like
up on.
we've been on this road for better or worse for like, I mean, it's only been like maybe a year and a half, but it feels like 17 or 18 years now. Like death metal ended in 04. I don't remember, like just forever ago.
Yeah.
Right.
What did you think of it though?
So I think I liked it a little bit more than you did, to my surprise. So I feel that this is a tale of two books. One I loved, and the other one I don't give a shit about. So 95% of it I loved. I loved these legacy characters making mistakes, failing upwards, desperately trying to fill a void. I loved the some are approaching it with denial, some are approaching it with individualism, some are approaching it with like an any which way but loose, like John Kent. I loved every single page of this whole thing, and then just like that wonderful realization, like smash cut to we both know who's supposed to be leading the Justice League to fucking Nightwing, Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
I was just like, yes, this book is the best thing that could happen to DC right now. It's amazing. It's great. And then the last two pages with all the pariah fuckery, and I stopped caring, like off of a cliff. I am so disinterested in the multiverse aspect of this story right now because one, I don't understand it. Even though I read all of that other stuff, I still do not understand the role of Pariah, this darkness, his dark army, and how they're going to use the already occurred deaths of the Justice League to destroy the multiverse. I don't understand any of it, but I also don't care because that other part of the story is all that really matters to me. So I don't know. Like I'm super mixed bag right now because I fear
I don't think we're supposed to
this
know.
book. Cool. I just feel that I fear that this book is going to turn into what I don't want versus all this amazing that they just gave me.
Cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Brian, what did you think?
I liked it. Yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing. I enjoyed the pariah fuckery in that there's some multiverse stuff coming, right? And I like multiverse stuff usually. I'm also not sure that that is the already occurred deaths of the Justice League or the still living Justice League.
Right.
I'm not sure, which I would like because I don't think any of the three of us or potentially anyone else is under the impression that these characters are dead or are going to stay dead, right? So I like it. Like I mentioned the other day, when Batman seemed to die, we saw that he wasn't dead. And it was like, all right, look, we know you don't think he's dead, but we're going to tell a story where the characters think that he is. I also just noticed Pariah's symbol with the 3 Earths. That's kinda cool. Yeah.
That's fun, right?
I didn't see that the first time around. So
he's got a little bit of the what's his name? What's that guy from the original?
The
Anti-Monitor.
Yeah,
Anti-Monitor.
Yeah. And we'll see what goes on with him. I don't think he's even the one that's really pulling the strings, right? Haven't they hinted that he is?
In both Justice Incarnate and the last week's Road to DC.
Oh yeah, that's it.
It was implied that there's something else, and I like this is one of those. You know what this kind of feels like to me? We've talked about this before, where there's a last page reveal, and you're like, "Who's that?" Am I supposed to know who that is? I don't. I'm excited, I guess, but I don't know who that is. You know, like
you don't know Pariah?
No, I'm talking about just.
Oh, I guess
thematically, like when the reveal at the end is like not talking to you or not like hitting your member berries, you're like, I guess it's important. Flashpoint Beyond,
like with the kid,
with
from the Time
raccoon hat.
Masters with the
Like,
raccoon
Yeah,
hat.
Hey, there you are,
I mean,
Chief.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
One of the
look
lesser
who's
known
here.
Time Masters.
I
It's
guess
Little Slugger.
and I usually love, like, I actually reread Infinite Crisis very recently, and I love the big multiversal stuff. I really do. But I guess I almost felt like Whiplash because I loved the first chunk of this book so much. Like, I love legacy characters making it work. And I know that
same.
death doesn't mean anything in comic books, but like, to me, the best example of it is the death of Captain America. It only lasted for 24 issues, but it almost felt like he was more important when he was dead because everyone was trying to fill the void. And I want to read 2 years worth of all of these legacy characters trying to fill the void, because I feel like that's almost more important to the DC trilogy or Trinity more than just another, Tony S. Daniel run of Batman.
See, I enjoyed the beginning part of the book, but I was finding myself thinking, like, is this a crisis? This is like a thing that is happening in the DC universe, but usually, like, I even felt that about Final Crisis a little bit. I was like, was this really in the mold of Crisis on Infinite Earths or Infinite Crisis or any of that kind of, like, there's a specific type of largeness to those stories. But yeah, I liked it. I mean, the beginning part of it. I like seeing the legacy characters fill in. I thought it was also cool that Hal Jordan and Wally West are still around. You've got a couple of the older guard and still around.
The elder statesmen go about their business as like it feels oddly true. Instead of, they could be stepping up as leaders, especially Hal, but it feels oddly true or realistic, like parents not necessarily taking the teen or the young one seriously. Like, no, it's important for us to do this. Like, you go ahead and do that. We're actually going to work the crime scene. Like, it's invalidating in a very realistic way without being just assholes.
Yeah,
I thought that was a really good scene.
Although I don't know that I would want to read 2 years of all of them gone, but those two years of stories would probably be good if it was like the other stuff was also still happening. You know what I mean? Like, looking back, those 2 years of collected stories could make really good trade paperbacks. But for all of those characters to be gone for 2 years,
well, I mean, they're not actually gone right now either, because they're all still in their own books.
Like we were talking about a while. Oh, that's true too. They are still in their own books. So
like Superman is on War World, and he will be for the next like 18 years. Batman is about to start a new run with Chip Zdarsky that I don't know when it's going to take place, but who cares?
So then bring it on. Bring on.
Like, they could get rid of these characters for a while, and also too, like,
could.
DC has like 18 different labels now, so I mean, there's going to be 18 Batman books a month, no matter what, whether he's dead or not. So, like, I want them to stick with, as much as like I do or don't like the New 52. At least for a while, they stuck with it. Like, they really committed to it for about 5 years before messing with it a little bit. Like, just commit to something for a couple of years, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
I think DC is a lot better about that than they were a few years ago. Like, for a little while there, it was like every 2 years there was a massive change that, like a new direction of stories, and it felt very scattershot for a while.
The last 5 years of DC have been a little rough in regards, and I think that's just like direction. They've only rebooted once in those 5 years, but
it's not always a reboot.
But there have been like lots of like line shifts. What was it? It was DCU and then Rebirth, and then post Metal, and then the Justice League, and then
I think
post
that's it.
Death Metal.
I think post
Age of
Death
Heroes.
Metal,
Age of Heroes. Death Metal itself was the only reboot, but they had like a couple different like line-wide reorganization.
I think
Rebirth technically was like it wasn't a reboot, but it was like a line-wide reorg.
An adjustment certainly into continuity also. But I think since the end of Death Metal, what they've been doing has been like nailing it, like really solid. And they have stuck with that. It hasn't been that long, but yeah, I think they're into like core DC stuff. And Robert Monroe Jr. mentions when they kill characters that we know aren't really going to die doesn't interest me. He says, we went through all of this with the death of Superman. I'd rather read something else. And do you guys think that they just killed Nightwing or even Beast Boy?
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Beast Boy, maybe. Wait.
Beast Boy's harder to get out of.
He was in front of a bomb.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Nightwing's fine. Beast Boy, I would not be surprised if they killed him.
Yeah.
He's a Blue Beetle level. They did that with Infinite Crisis, which I was about to say, Noel. I was about to Infinite Crisis because, man, I have fond memories of that whole series.
Mm-hmm.
What a great crisis that was. I love that.
Also, for anyone in the market, well, I mean, I think it's out of print, but it'll come back. Infinite Crisis, the omnibus.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, events that large with so many so many like side stories, it's in the book mapped or printed as separate chunks. The Infinite Crisis omnibus is all in chronological order, so you jump from issues of like OMAC projects to the Secret Six to this to that. Like
that's cool.
Around
that is cool. That's the way they should.
So
all be.
It's almost like you're reading it as it was published, as opposed to like, here's 6 issues of this, and then you backtrack and here's 6 issues. So like when you get to the event of the actual Infinite Crisis event, building. it's like issue. Well, I mean, it's also mapped differently. It's like issues 1 and 2, and then a couple of tie-ins, and then issue 3, and then a couple more tie-ins, and then 4 and 5. Like it's the long road around, but it's a much more fulfilling read.
Yeah.
Some of those tie-ins was that I forget which. I don't think it was this. The Superman and the Legion of Superheroes with the 3 different legions.
Yeah.
Oh, Legion of 3
Worlds. Is that Infinite Crisis?
Nope.
It was a later event.
What was that for?
Final
no
Crisis?
kidding. Oh, I think you're right.
I thought it was
You're
later.
Right.
That was good, though. That tie-in was awesome.
That one was
right
good.
There.
Yeah.
It's Legion of 3 Worlds, yeah.
Yeah, Legion of 3 Worlds. That was great.
Rob says Barry Allen is the only one who has ever felt dead. True.
In DC.
Although, I guess you're right. I was going to say Hal, but no. Yeah.
Well, Hal was out
Stu
for
Dibney,
a little while.
Stu Dibney is dead.
Oof. Oh.
Yeah. And there's some other characters that are not
Yeah.
main characters, but are, notable side characters that have been dead for a while. But yeah, I guess I can't think of anyone else.
Batman is talking about how characters are still just doing their things in their own books. Batman is forming an LLC. That's what all dead people do.
Yeah.
And Rob Liefeld can fix it all, according to Rob Liefeld.
I mean, I would love for DC to call his bluff and just like, Rob, go do anything
I would not
you
love
want
that.
and hang on, call his bluff and fix our line. And then 2 months in, when he has a fucking tantrum online and doesn't finish anything, we can all just say, see, you are a hack.
That guy has not fixed anything because he tweeted that recently, like, oh, give it to me, I'll fix it. He hasn't fixed anything since X-Force, right? Like he jumped on the X-Force and that was like, that jumped into everyone loved it. And then that was the last thing he fixed.
He's been riding the Deadpool train for 30 years now.
Like 40 years ago.
You guys nobody said anything about my retitling on the bottom.
It's funny.
I did laugh about it.
Yeah. I saw it and went, that's funny.
Yeah. But not out loud.
Anyway.
It says Pariah Fuckery #1 from DC Comics for all you listeners out there.
That's what I'm going to call this series from now on. I think we should follow this series because I think there's enough good in here
Yeah.
Well, there's enough like good in here. That's a meaty in here. That I think we're all rooting for it, but we are all also have like misgivings. Like,
I also want to catch up on Wonder Girl, like the Yara Flor series that she's been in.
Because that Future State stuff was the best of the Future State comics.
Yeah.
But
then I haven't read a single issue of her series since then.
Yeah.
Even though I was like, I like this girl. I'm going to read all her stuff.
Well, I guess, guys, we're the problem. It got canceled early because of people like us who liked it but then stopped reading it. So it's going to be collected soon. I think the Future State issues and then 1 through 7 of the series that was canceled early. And in the
it was only 7
trial of the it was only 7 issues. In the trial of the Amazons, they I guess gave her a new status quo of officially Wonder Girl, but she doesn't have a book. I don't know what they're doing with her next.
Sad. I should have read it. I'm sorry, Yara.
I mean, technically,
although, to be fair, I was still ordering them for the store.
Right, like I purchased it. I don't think me not reading it affected the the continuation of the book.
Tomato. None of us, all of us, put money towards her, but have no idea where she is now.
So did you read her issue 7?
No, I read it up to issue 4.
Okay, I was curious to see if they wrapped it up.
I stopped reading it. I stopped reading it because it was a very slow-paced book. Up till 4, she still wasn't Wonder Girl yet.
Oh, really?
That's
a long time.
It was a long origin. But then issue 7 leads right into the trial of the Amazons, and she has like 2 one-shots in there.
Oh, that's cool.
So
there's only 3 issues of her as Wonder Girl.
It's something. I mean, you can check the math on me later. All I know is that it was a slow progression.
I mean, to be fair, Peter Parker and Ultimate Spider-Man wasn't Spider-Man for like
but
issues.
Spider-Man was already around.
I was not reading that in issues. I read.
I was, and even then, I was like, "This is taking a long time. When is he going to get his suit?"
It was 7 issues. It was the first arc is 7 issues, and he's not Spider-Man in any of them except the last issue.
I'm going to move us on.
He doesn't have any webs.
Jesus Christ. Skybound presents After School #1 from Image Comics, written by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, with art by Greg Hinkle. Morals have eroded. Your kids are out of control. Skybound's new horror anthology is going to teach those teens a lesson. This debut issue presents a standalone cautionary tale soaked in blood and tears. Nora's anxiety prevented her from approaching high school with any degree of confidence. That is, until she adopted Janie, an emotional support dog with a winning smile and a killer secret. But just how far will Nora go to keep her new life? I didn't read. I like not reading solicitations before books for the most part. After School #1 was great. This was my shit. I really like this book. Highly recommend it right off the bat. Benson and Moorhead. Why do I know those names?
They are the writers, directors of Spring, The Endless, Marvel's Moon Knight.
All right. I loved
Resolution
Endless.
And
Resolution was dope.
There's another one. It's Spring, Resolution.
The same dudes.
Spring, Resolution, The Endless, something else. Every single one of everything that they've ever been involved in is a banger. Just straight up.
Yeah, man. That nails it. This is great. I love this. The art is great. I don't know. Is it Greg Hinkle? Greg Hinkle's killing it on this issue with Giovanna Miro on colors. Just a really nice looking book. The art style reminds me a little bit of maybe Basket Full of Heads. This is awesome. I really like this. We meet this dog, and the first thing I was like, oh, look at that dog. The dog doesn't have any ink lines. There's no black ink on the dog, which is kind of a neat effect. And
something kind of alien about it.
Oh, yeah. And man, there's some really fun, like gross body horror stuff happening in this book. This was great. I really liked it. I like the revelation of what was going on. Yeah, this was awesome. And then what she has to do in order to save the day, I guess, is pretty gross. Yeah. This was all. I love this. This is great. What did you guys think? No.
I fucking loved it. I loved it. It's cosmic body horror, but it's funny and it's sweet. This is so weird. This book was so weird.
Yeah.
And I was just, I was sitting in our living room reading it and just like audibly making noises. And my wife is like, "What are you reading?" I'm like, "I can't really explain this, but right now the alien dog is building a gate made out of other animal parts and technology in order to get like just fucking weird shit." And she made a weird face, and I was just like, "But it's really sweet. Like it's a sweet book so far."
Yeah.
Like I don't know if this would even work in other mediums. This felt like an episode of the Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want it any longer. I don't know if I want it any shorter. This was great.
Yeah.
I love this.
What did you think, Brian?
I liked it a lot too. I really enjoyed it. I noticed that it's the
There's a quorum
this time.
Hey,
Yes.
we've done it.
Yes.
We're done. That's
Unanimous.
it. Go over.
The podcast is over, not just for tonight.
Tell us more.
So I also noticed the difference in the dog, although I didn't pin it as no inclines. I was like, oh, that dog is kind of washed out. But I thought that's very cool. You know, it's a very cool visual difference that you don't know why it's happening in the beginning, you know, which is nice. And I was enjoying it. And then when they got to the scene with the dog standing up in the kitchen smoking a cigarette after the previous night, the girl's mom asking if she was smoking, and like this is the payoff of that on its hind legs with a mug.
Shit.
I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is really cool. And I like that dog's attitude. Like it's this terrible and terrifying conqueror that is helping this girl out because, you know, he's there with her, trapped in the dog and trying to get home. Doesn't have anything against the girl, you know, and I think takes a shine to her a little bit by the end. But the characterization of the dog with that hard edge is very cool. And I like the story of what happens with the girl. You know, she's in her shell and then the dog helps, and presumably that help remains. So you guys, whose spine did she take at the end?
They weren't. So that was
just
there was a little bit of rushed pacing at the end because this is a one shot. They are at the hospital building this machine, and they do a really, really quick transition to she goes to the morgue.
Okay, I thought it was
an
existing body that
it was a body that was there at the morgue, and she was just like, "You need a spine. We're in a hospital. I'll get you a spine.
I'll go get one for you."
Yeah,
right. So it was really cool. I'm also interested in this last page, but this is a one shot. You guys say, all right?
Yeah, that's it.
So who knows what happens from here? But
there's such a it feels like an episode of like Tales from the Crypt, but sci-fi, where it gives you that kind of like not such a happy ending, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, like she made a deal with the devil for the most part. Like, it instilled confidence in her, but she's a conquering queen alien like that. So. I
thought she just wanted to go back and conquer her own place.
And she wanted to go back and get her army.
Yeah.
I do have a question. I do have a question. On the screen here, we've got this hospital ER room or OR. And there is a building-sized dog peeking its head through the window from outside.
That's true.
What is happening there?
Dog.
I think
why
it's
is
just
that
weird?
Dog?
I think it's on the ground floor, and that dog, which has been drawn very large previously, is a bit out of its other scale.
It's just it's just picture. Slightly bigger. They're not that's a ground floor. The squirrel is on a desk, not the floor. Wait, no.
What?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
Because the surface of where the squirrel is at her knee. it's a little awkward. That
Yeah.
dog is
I'm
like
not
it's
crazy
supposed to
though.
be like-
That looks like it's a
No, no,
second
It
floor,
does.
and the dog is
Once you pointed
coming
it
in.
out,
Yeah.
it's a gigantic dog.
So like look in the next panel, look at the dog. It's essentially like a giant Marmaduke style dog, but
Yeah.
that one panel it looks a little off.
Yeah.
Just a touch too big. 10% too much dog.
What's Marmaduke been up to recently? We should do a whole episode devoted to Marmaduke
Yeah, let's
and
all
his
do mine.
current adventures.
This was like ET meets Thing. This was awesome. I loved this.
also-
I gave it to like 3 people at the store. Or
That's
like
awesome.
got them to try and read it. Like, here, just take this one issue. Read
I also like at the very last page here, where they're what's the word? They're aliens, so they are invading, but they rip through the comic book page. The way they're coming in is to rip
that's
through paper.
interesting. Oh, I didn't.
I thought it was like a tear
I
in
didn't look at that. Yeah,
it just reality.
Yeah, sure.
it could be.
But I mean,
both.
it's kind of neat that it looks like paper, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's super, super fun. I'm excited for issue 2, which is going to be written by Kate Herron from Marvel Studios Loki and Sex Education.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I'm excited for the next issue. This is off to a really good start. Hey, if you guys are enjoying what we're doing here, you please should like and subscribe on YouTube. And then also hang out with us on Facebook and become a Patreon by going to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo, JohnnyDestructo. Yeah. And then what else can you do? You can just freaking come and hang out with us. That's it. That's what you should do.
Tell other
tell
people
all your
to watch the
friends.
show.
Yeah.
It is low effort, high impact activity. Just like, comment,
true.
subscribe, say hey. You don't have to stand up.
It's true.
And if you're already standing up, you don't have to sit down.
Now, you don't
Just
have to
do
put
whatever.
Pants, you don't have to put pants on to help us out, and that is a rule across the board.
And that should be a T-shirt.
You don't have to put on pants to help us out.
Yeah.
It's just nothing but bangers today.
Multiversity Teen Justice #1 from DC Comics, written by Ivan Cohen and Danny Lohr, with art by Marco Failla. Kid Quick, the future State Flash, and their fellow heroes, Supergirl, Robin, Aquagirl, Clarion, the Witch Girl, and Troy take center stage in a miniseries that rocks Earth 11 to its core. What is Sister Blood's true mission among the lost souls of New York City? Can Teen Justice get through their growing pains fast enough to learn the answer in time to stop it? And what role will the mysterious Raven, the brooding hero who has refused to join the team in the past, play in the ultimate battle? The secrets of Earth 11's newest heroes and villains unfold in DC's most exciting new team title. Wah, wah, wah. Didn't finish the book. What about you?
How much of it did you read?
Ryan, did Noel die? Oh, there he goes.
No. I thought it was the beginning of music. Is that what you expect to happen if Noel dies?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
What did you think, Brian? Do you like this Teen Justice?
I did like it. That's one thing that I thought about it. I like this, I thought. So at first I was reading it and I was like, oh, it's a gender swapped DC universe. What an odd thing to do. And then I was like, oh, it's a previously existing gender swapped alternate Earth. That's cool. I just wondered why they had done it, and then I was like, "Oh, right, this is one that already existed, but this is the next generation of those characters." And I think we've seen these guys before too. It's reprinted in the back of the book.
That aspect also kind of took me for a loop. The first couple of pages, I was just like, okay, so
why is doing this?
Why is this more than just kind of a gimmick? Like,
right.
Like, other than like just the pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then when I realized that it was like a previously established, and you had a Superwoman and a Batwoman and a Superwoman, and it was from like the 60s, the Earth 11 or whatever it was. I was like, oh, this is legacy. That's cool.
I have a couple of things to interject.
Yeah.
Remember when I was like, I didn't read this book?
Yeah.
It just happened just now. I just said it.
I remember that.
Turns out I did.
Oh, wow.
And you
Did you think
and I
that you hadn't
immediately-
read the whole thing because there's
And I immediately forgot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't read the backup.
I didn't.
And I didn't know that this was legacy characters from a pre-existing universe.
Didn't either.
Yeah.
How did you,
That's
how
how
did you know?
That's how I read. Well, that's just kind of how I read
kind
it.
of
and they had the
remembered it,
Earth
and then
11.
I looked
Yeah.
up what Earth 11 was, and I was like, oh yeah, those guys. They were in. I thought that they were in the Jeff Loeb run on Superman, Batman.
Superman, Batman.
And then, but it said somewhere else that their first appearance is somewhere else. But I think there have been maybe multiple Earths that are very similar, that are kind of like this.
I will look it up after this, but I think it was also in the Multiversity guidebook.
I think so. Yeah.
Just like established, the female male versions of these characters and vice versa.
I like this
Jeff Loeb,
Kid Quick.
Jeff Loeb and Ed
cool.
McGuinness.
Yeah. When they were
Superman,
kind of popping
Batman,
through
23.
different worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know enough about it when I started reading the book, and it didn't grab me. I was like, I don't know, when it comes to any kind of opening salvo, pitch, gimmick, novelty, whatever it is, like that's how you hook me and then like now convince me. And it just took a little while to like, okay, I get the novelty, but why for the purposes of this story? And it that whole opening sequence was just kind of noise, and it didn't really click until after that, right? So when I had told JD earlier this week when I only read the first half and was like, I don't know if I like it. I think it's almost like it exists just to exist. It's not really very good yet. But then the second half, I really dug. I really liked the sister blood reveal. It's weird. Enough to like, yeah, that's just weird.
Yeah.
And I liked the backup a lot, even though it was a reprint.
Yeah, I meant to read it. I think I probably did read it when it came out, but I don't remember it at all.
The backup's great.
I also liked the intro character, that girl that shows up who's run away and helps them out in their first fight. And I'm like, oh, is the hook of this story is that she's going to join the team that they're on, and then she ends up going to the Sister Blood cult. But I have a feeling I guess the word is bored. I was so bored by the first like 5 pages of this issue that the opening text and the opening kind of like monologue kept throwing me off. And I tried to articulate this to JD, and it didn't come out right, and I probably still won't come out right. But we're introduced to this character who's very visually striking with magenta hair and piercings, and the world around her is portrayed very muted. And she's talking about how she just blends in and is very anonymous. And as it's presented on the page, I'm like, there's nothing anonymous about you as it's showing me. Like, as the camera's mind's eye is showing me, it doesn't feel like there's anything anonymous, maybe other than how you feel. So like the book, I had the opportunity to start picking at things because the book hadn't hooked me yet, I think she says she feels like she doesn't have any friends, though.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Hang on. What's the actual dialogue?
That's right here.
I freaked out on?
Gigi is a pro when it comes to anonymity at this point. Originally, Georgia, she used to say her friends called her Gigi, but when she's being honest, it's been a long time since she's had friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took it as like self-isolated or just isolated, that kind of thing. Yeah. I really liked Kid Quick's outfit, and I was like, oh, I guess she is the version of Kid Flash, but then says she says the 9X. Oh man, how did I not remember it? 3X2 9YZ4A. There it is. And it's an even better adaptation of the Johnny Quick costume than it is, the Kid Flash costume. It's similar to that, and it looks cool. I'll be honest, something else that threw me is I just saw that right away, and I thought that Kid Quick was the non-binary Flash from Future State that they told us we were going to see again. And so the intro threw me even more because I was like, I didn't pay attention to the rest of the characters on the cover as much. So I doubly didn't know what was happening.
That's not the non-binary Just Quick?
That is the non-binary.
It
Kid
is.
Quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does
Right.
she later? Do they later become the Flash? Because they're the Flash.
Oh
right?
yeah, because in future state they become the Flash.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this
So
is
in the future they'll be the Flash, but right now they're Kid Quick. So this is still that character, but as a Teen Titanish sort of character.
Yeah,
I
'cause
guess
I
we
wasn't-
just haven't seen the characters that she is with. Oh, right, because the future state characters, we never saw
Yeah,
her home universe.
I
Their home
wasn't
universe. Sorry.
I wasn't sure either
Yeah.
until they revealed their name and it was Jess Quick. I'm like, oh, this is the same Jess from
Right. Okay.
Future State. Yeah. Oh, closer. Closer. There it is. Yeah, that's them.
It's a cool Flash costume.
Yeah, much cooler. I like that Flash
Yeah.
costume a lot. And Dan Mora art.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Sinestro thing at the end. I want to know what's happening with this.
Yeah, and it's a Green Lantern, so the Green Lanterns are the bad guys. Like, what's going on?
You think so, or is it that she hasn't like revealed that she's bad yet? But then why is Kilowog, which apparently is a gender-neutral name, on whatever planet? Oh, I forget the planet that Kilowog is from.
I don't know. All I like, whatever they're setting up. I mean, I can't. And this is part of like the way it's revealed. They're farming something from feigning as a cult. No good thing comes from that. So I'm like, if it's Sinestro like extracurricularly thinking of doing good by doing something shitty, great. But as it stands, the Green Lanterns are established as the adversaries here, and that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
Second half was better than the first half. Absolutely.
Agreed. Yeah, the beginning was very by the numbers. Very made by numbers.
Yeah, a very introductory sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
here's who I am and what I'm all about.
Yeah.
Says each character in turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Thor number 26, Marvel Comics, written by Donny Cates with art by Martin Coccolo. Thor and Hulk's epic rivalry continues in the fourth installment of the character's 60th anniversary crossover celebration. Thanks to Odin, Thor now realizes the gravity of Banner's situation and its connection to that mysterious, violent incident in El Paso. But when Iron Man's interference causes more harm than good, our two rivals face shocking changes that change the stakes of the battle for good. I mean, it's only a battle. It's a battle. I guess it changes the stakes of the battle till that particular battle's over.
No, the stakes have actually remained exactly the same as when they began.
Have they though?
Well, I mean, what was that stake?
The stakes have inversed. So we have a Hulk Thor and a Thor Hulk now.
That shit is cool. That was
That's
the coolest
so
part of the whole thing.
It's so dumb. I like it.
This is the dumbest goddamn book, and I enjoy the shit out of it. It's so.
This is
stupid.
what Donny Cates does. He does this big comic booky shit that I go, oh, that's so dumb. Give it to me. Give me more of it. I love it. Yeah.
You know what? I think it's about tone. Like it's he's just so earnest in the presentation of it. Like it really is somebody that's like over your shoulder, being like, "Wouldn't it be cool if?" or "Isn't it rad how?" Like it's not done in a. I feel like if it wasn't earnest or genuine, then it would feel like they're just selling action figures. And yes, they want to sell action figures.
Yo, I'd get a Thor Hulk action figure.
But
me too.
But he is still I feel like he loves the shit out of this just as much as we're enjoying it. So it comes across that way and not just as like a manipulation. And I as stupid as this was and as obvious as it is in hindsight, I didn't guess that in the moment. I didn't guess it. Yeah,
I was like, oh shit,
wonderful.
Thor is hulking out because of this other story element that it makes sense that Thor would Hulk out, but the Mjolnir was right there all along and Odin's with him. That definitely could have happened, but I didn't see it coming at all, like until not even a panel early,
And in the Thor book, they established that the spirit that wasn't, the living storm that was inside Mjolnir was corrupted by Mangog, so is now no longer inside the hammer, but it's Odin. So you have this side quest part of the book where Banner is trying to convince Odin to let, and we don't know it until the last minute, but let Thor wield the hammer because that's the only like logical way, or at least narrative
Hulk?
way to get
even him up.
to get a Hulk Thor. And I was like, this is so stupid. I love it.
Yeah.
Now I am back and forth about that kind of stuff from Donny Cates. Sometimes he writes something and I'm like, that's awesome. And other times I'm like, oof, no thanks. but this issue, that's awesome. That was good.
I definitely am more into his Thor run than I am his Hulk run.
Me too. Yeah.
Right now they've come together in a really fun way.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely look more forward to Thor than I do his Hulk.
He does the mythological aspect pretty well. Like he gives it that kind of vibe and grandeur, and some of that is there. But he's the cool paces that he's put Thor through. The what if this wouldn't it be cool ifs that he's put Thor through? Like wouldn't it be cool if he became the Herald of Galactus? I've been on board with. I've thought those were largely cool. Whereas the Hulk one I haven't kept up with, but the ones that we've read, I'm like, that's all right.
I think the Hulk book is more in line with what the Venom book was like. It's a lot of groundwork and just kind of like art displays at this point. Like it's just a couple of breadcrumbs of good ideas or interesting ideas, but it's mostly a bombast kind of book. Whereas Thor is a lot more twisty and turny. But we're like 26 issues into Thor, so he's pretty established. It's only been 6 issues of Hulk before this kind of crossover.
Although that first arc of Thor was like,
it was phenomenal.
You know,
absolutely. But I did like there's longevity, and also too like he did riff hard on Aaron's run, whereas it's a bit of a hard turn from the Immortal Hulk book. It's starting from scratch a little harder. I don't know. I agree with you guys that it's of the 2 books, it's not the strongest that he's like got ongoing at Marvel right now, but I'm giving it a little grace because it's still early days. I checked out of Venom a little early, let them build up, and then read it in one chunk and was like, what am I missing? Oh my God. And that's how Hulk feels.
Right on.
All right.
Yeah, this Banner of War has been a really fun little crossover.
Mm-hmm. And it very succinct, well-paced, you know. It's
super fast.
It's quick and fun and concludes next issue. So I assume we'll check it out. It does. That's what it says.
Is there an Omega issue or something?
It says concluded in Hulk number 8.
Yeah, that's weird. You think they would have done an Omega issue?
Yeah,
they did an Alpha.
They do like to do that kind of thing. But maybe they wanted an equal amount of each, and he was like, this is the amount of story, the issues it should be. Yeah. And for once, maybe that was what happened.
It's wonderful. I like both these books are fun, and it's cool.
Got a cool Thor costume too.
Right? I like that new Thor costume.
Yeah.
Let's move on to The Ward, the last book of the week. The Ward #1 from Dark Horse, written by Kevin Scott, who I know from Star Wars novels, and art by Andres Ponce. St. Lilith's is a secret hospital for supernatural creatures. The personnel are overworked, and the facility is underfunded. It's a place and a life Dr. Nat Reeves thought she left behind, until a wounded woman with a tail appears on her doorstep. ER meets Hellboy. That is exactly what this is.
Yes.
100%. This is a just supernatural ER.
What if there was a hospital where these creatures came into? Is the story.
Yes. The whole thing. I'm not entirely. I think as a one-shot, it was cute. As an ongoing or a miniseries, I don't care more than this one issue, I think. Unless someone tells me you got to read The Ward #2, I don't think I'm going to stick with it. What did you think? Oh, Brian, if you told me The Ward #2 is the best comic book you read all year, I'd ask, no, what did you think? And then if he told me he agreed with you, then I'd probably read it.
Okay,
if Brian told me that it's one of the best comics you read all year, my response would be like, you read a comic when it came out?
Oh,
I didn't just hit the stack.
I mean, I read the comics
or we
for the
begged
show
you to read it.
He does read the comics for the show.
It's because we like it's like homework.
It's an implied beg. Yeah.
An implied beg. Brian, what'd you think of the book?
I
beg you.
It was.
I beg if
it
you
was
tell us.
I grant it to you. This. It was fine. It was. It was
yeah,
cool.
same.
Yeah. It was. The tale of what if the fantasy world had this aspect of the real world, or this aspect of the real world dealt with the traditional fantasy world kind of thing. And as far as that goes, you got a cool story about the main character, and she goes and she's going to work in this hospital, but she's got a history. That's fine. I probably wouldn't read issue number 2 either. I'm not that interested in the medical drama type story. So whereas I am interested in seeing a world where all these creatures coexist and they sort of exist in a modern world, I don't think this is the setting that would get me to keep reading.
No,
I was very, very impressed. Did you guys ever watch ER for any?
A few episodes, not often.
I was very impressed with how they captured that format, in so much as the show. It was about the people, but it wasn't structured linearly where it was, I'm going to follow this doctor and their trials and tribulations. It was all really set in, like, it revealed information about the people in the context of what they're trying to accomplish, who they're trying to save, or whatever they're trying to solve for. And this captured that balance really, really well. Like, it gave you a bunch of nuggets in only 22 pages. It gave you a bunch of character nuggets. It introduced an entire world. There was a full murder mystery in the middle of this that was concluded with just a little bit of like a breadcrumb for the next issue if they want to.
That was well done.
It was
the mystery that was solved was well put it together.
Right?
Yeah.
As much as I am not like super interested in this concept or just procedurals like this, or even Hellboy style, like a world behind a world type books. I read this and I was really, really impressed with all of that it accomplished, and it didn't feel small, it didn't feel too big, and it didn't feel rushed. I was just like, this is like a really solid ass comic book. It may not be for me, but it was really impressive. Like, think about all the things that they accomplished in this book, and it didn't feel like a chore, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would recommend this to somebody, but I don't know if I would read issue 2. But I would totally be like, oh, do you like ER? Are you a big fan of like this? Like, you should absolutely try The Ward. Yeah. I
would like to know if issue 2 is good. But,
I would like to know if issue 2 I would like to know if issue 2 carries a thread, or if this is a kind of like an anthology book. So like the preview for issue 2 kind of alludes to like a troll birth, or like an emergency delivery. I would love it if they really did, because again, episodes of ER, the characters moved along with it and you learned little pieces of their stories, but it really was a new episode. Like, you could jump in at any moment and it would just be shit in the hospital, and this is how it can go wrong or right, and this is who we save and who we don't. I would be impressed if it continues that way, and just like almost
they had
like
interesting
an
enough
book,
stories.
Right? Yeah,
I mean, they had an interesting enough story for this medical procedure kind of thing, or 2 medical procedures kind of thing. I'd also like, I think it would be fun if Wilfred gets involved like every time, but he's constantly having his memory erased. And there's like something going on with Wilfred.
He's actually the main character.
Yeah.
he just never remembers it.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is a mini or an ongoing, or I as much as I'm probably not going to continue this or put it on my pull list, I would totally like revisit this or see how it's doing, because there's something there. It's just maybe not be for me.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? You want to talk about anything else before we split?
Not Bruno, that's for sure.
Oh, speaking of, we were talking about
Bruno?
Miss Marvel, and I had an interesting interaction with somebody who what's his name? John Vargas on Facebook.
Or doxing.
Sounds like a fake thing.
I was well, I'm sure it's a fake account, but like I was having a conversation with a bunch of people under a thing about Miss Marvel TV show, and I was going back and forth with a couple of folks about racism. Seemed to be really upset about the show. It's just existing. And so this guy, John Vargas, I have no idea who this guy is, shows up and starts yelling at me about my Asian wife and how I'm a white savior because I'm not mad at Miss Marvel for existing. I don't mind representation and all that sort of stuff.
And you were kind enough to marry your wife.
Is he? I was going to say, is he implying that you did your wife a favor because she's not white?
Right.
I'm not sure what that means.
Gave her that gift.
That's confusing.
Yeah, my whiteness.
It
was very confusing.
I blessed her with my whiteness.
The bigger thing is that he went through my Facebook and found my wife.
Yeah.
And so I blocked him. I was like, that's freaking creepy and weird. And so I blocked him. And then after I blocked him, I found that he had sent me a message request where he talked about my wife's business. And he's like, oh, I hear Philadelphia is nice in the summer. He was purposely threatening my wife.
Yeah. That's shitty.
And so I was like, don't respond. This guy's a piece of shit, coward. Don't even bother. It's telling, nothing's going to come of it. And of course it was from a completely locked down Facebook. You can't see anything in it, anything. And I was like, just leave it alone. It's fine. I was mad though. And then my wife sends me a message today that says, what's this about? Apparently when he messaged me, he had also messaged her.
Oh.
Yeah. That's how upset he was about Miss Marvel existing. That he threatened my wife
to him.
Oh, I don't I wasn't ever talking to the guy. That's the thing, is I was talking to other people.
Oh.
And then he showed up.
What was, just for anecdotally, what was maybe the worst thing you said to somebody on that thread that could have gotten him all knickers in a twist?
Oh, that if you're not, it was one of those things of I think someone had said something about her bracelet. Oh, look how how creative her bracelet is part of her culture. Real clever writers, Disney. And I said, do you bring this kind of energy to Captain America, who wears a literal flag as a costume?
and real on the nose. Disney.
What about why Muslims? How come we care about religions? And I said, do you bring this sort of energy to Daredevil, who's Catholic? Do you get mad that Marvel is talking about Catholicism as a religion? It's stuff like that.
I guess to be fair, I kind of do bring that to Captain America. I'm like, a flag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a problem with her bracelet?
No, I like it.
Yeah. So
I feel like ornate piece of jewelry from your culture is different than a jingoistic representation of individualism or nationalism.
Nationalism.
Sure. Nationalism. Yeah. So anyway, that was my week. I was like, just ignore it, because I was like, I'd already blocked him. So I was unblock him, then I'll write something back, and then I'll block him again. I was like, don't do that. But then, of course, Sushan showed me that he had sent her a message too, threatening her. Really fucking spooky, man. Really, people out there, and you guys you're real mad about Miss Marvel. Send those messages to Facebook. Be on alert. Things are crazy these days. Yeah, I already reported them.
Yeah, that is probably good. Yeah.
Of course, I reported it, but
I think you were
anytime I report anybody who's a racist piece of shit, it always comes back like, oh, this doesn't really what's the word? It doesn't
violate our community standards.
Community guidelines.
Yes, it never seems to.
Which is also something that you don't need to protect speech that doesn't offend anyone, and so that is something that needs to be held up as well. That it should be difficult for somebody to have repercussions for their speech. And unless he says something,
I think if the speech is, I'm going to come to Philly and veil threats against my wife, I feel like
this particular person, yes, that is not something that should be allowed. But you're saying it usually comes back. This does not violate our.
Oh yes, yeah. Usually it's some racist garbage. Robert Monroe. Yeah, I already reported it. Thanks, buddy. But be on the lookout for John Vargas.
Yeah. On the street. Probably a guy in a
Yeah,
trench coat
he's out there.
with a buzz cut. Yeah.
If I was gonna guess, he is white.
What makes you say that?
It's a hunch. Just a hunch. But I
There he is.
he might be. Oh yeah, no, he is an oak. No, I what sucks is that he could literally be like a 19-year-old angry incel, but he can also be a 45-year-old fucking adult that has really needs to talk to somebody.
Yeah. The funny thing
If
is that
that
other
is
people in the
the level
conversation
of
that I was
anger.
arguing with, like I was arguing with other people who were assholes that got this guy riled up, and even those people were like, "Yeah, man, you don't talk about other people's families."
Yeah.
Not
Like, that's not cool.
gonna,
Yeah.
you know, this ain't-
Well, that's good.
yeah,
And
this
he
ain't
could
what we do.
also be, like you said, it could be a fake account. He could be somebody with the express purpose of riling people up with no particular thrust behind his,
He could be
like, no beliefs of his own, just to rile
Yeah,
people
it could
up.
just
You know?
It could look. I don't know for sure, but it's probably Rob Patey. It's probably an optimist.
He does do a lot of
an
that kind of
optimist
stuff to
douche
JD.
stock account. He
That's
just
true.
wants you
Yeah.
like to get under your skin in
Yeah.
some manipulative
Rob.
way to get what he
Damn
needs
Rob.
from you. Classic Rob. It's full Rob.
So be on the lookout for John Vargas. He's out there. He's out there. He's going to get you guys. He's hiding under your bed.
John Vargas.
He's what's hanging out in
Rob.
John Tinian's the closet.
James
In the
Tinian's
closet, in that
closets.
closet. That was a cool
Yeah,
book.
James
Oh, I
Tynan.
I didn't read it yet.
Oh, it's
Oh,
good.
it's so good.
I think you'd enjoy it.
There's a couple of books that I have
Yes,
not
you
read in
will.
the last 2 weeks because it was a closet. I didn't read Flashpoint Beyond. I didn't read. I just focused on the books that we're going to talk about this week, guys. There's a lot of comics in the world.
All right. It was Flashpoint
Oh,
Beyond
you want
last
to see?
week?
I ordered. Since we're just hanging out,
I want to see it.
I ordered.
Whatever it
Dan
is.
Hipp is one of my favorite illustrators. No, Dan
Makes me
Hipp.
happy.
He is. He's sort of the look behind Teen Titans Go. But he's one of my favorite illustrators, and he makes all these stickers. And so every time his prints and stickers go up for sale, they're gone like that. Like before I can even click the link and put something in my cart, it's just sold out all the way down. But this time, I wound up ordering his sticker pack. I'm going to show you some of these stickers. I'm going to go full screen here.
I want Dan Hipp stickers.
That's cool.
Wolverine, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye.
Sweet.
What I don't even know what this. It's Spider-Man, but wearing a knit sweater.
And he's got things coming out. Oh, those things are knit as well. And he's got
Yeah.
Iron Man on the back. That's a wild sticker.
Ooh,
Oh,
Star Wars.
And they're together in the bottom. That's nice.
Oh,
So this is Boba Fett and Mandalorian, but if you'll notice, they're doing the Predator, you son of a bitch handshake.
Yeah.
It's a nice.
Oh, that's a cool Batman.
Man.
Is that the Robert Pattinson Batman specifically?
Yes.
You think? Yeah.
Just tell me
you need
these
all
aren't the
vigilantes.
greatest stickers.
Those are all
great
vigilantes.
stickers. JD, I think you gave me some What We Do in the Shadows stickers by him. That one's cool, Slimer.
Oh no, those were the ones you're talking about are Kyle Starks.
Oh, okay. They were cool.
Venom.
Venom.
How did you find out about these sticker packs? I want one.
Look,
I'm not
he's
kidding.
got all three.
Two
He's got all three
Spider-Man.
Spideymen. He's got all three Spideymen.
Answer my question.
That's
How did you
cool.
find out, and where can I
I
get them?
follow him on Instagram, and he said, "Hey, there's a sale going up now."
Oh, excellent. Raven and Starfire.
This is what I get for not looking on social media enough.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Speaking of the Batman,
That's cool.
Strays.
covered in.
I like that one.
She has a thing for strays. And then, oh, look at this. Mighty. It says Mighty in the background. And it's a shiny Thor and Jane Foster Thor.
Playing
So, yeah, I was very
their hammer and axe as guitars.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a Mando reading Baby Yoda Boba Fett book.
That's cool.
So yeah, I got that. And then I did some commissions. I'll show you some. I got asked to do a lizard,
Ah,
a classic lizard. So I did that
that's
one.
cool.
And then
that's good. That's
someone asked
very
me to do a
classic comic style.
Hobgoblin.
JD.
Thank you.
Oh, very nice. Yeah,
So yeah,
that's cool.
that's what I'm doing. Oh, I lost a sticker. There's one more sticker. Galactus.
Hey, it's Galactus with the Earth or a planet.
Yeah.
Looks like the Earth.
So yeah, I just thought I'd share. What do you got? What's up here? Oh, never mind. That's the comic book.
You know what
So,
I saw
alright.
a little while ago? There was some TV show. I don't remember what it was, but it approached the Earth, and it was not from the vantage point of in front of North America. And I thought it was pretty cool. It was just like, oh yeah, why would it always come in from that side? You know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think
That's funny.
Was it Star Trek? I forget what it was. It 50-50 shot that it was Star Trek. It was something I saw within the last 1 year.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like I was there next to you watching it.
Yeah. I feel like that too.
All right, guys. Should we get the frick out of here?
Right.
I got to do
Let's
my
get the frick outta
FOCs.
Yeah.
All right.
Your Fox.
Bye. Thanks for hanging out with